Hello and welcome to the conference. And I want to start off by saying happy anniversary, a little bit late, but we just got in our t-shirt, so I want to kind of show it off and just say that we're celebrating with our holidays that we've had our Shala for 14 years. Super exciting. And the Wellness Center now, I just feel like the light of the Shala and the people that make up the Shala just keep getting brighter. So we're celebrating with our t-shirt today, 14. The topic is, from last week, the sternum. So I hope that all week you were able to take your puppet string and pick up your sternum and allow for your spine to be long and your heart to be open and wide, and to breathe a little bit deeper into your orange zone and to just get out of that habitual pattern of closing yourself down. I want to extend that again this week and invite you to more and more keep picking up where you're in this pattern of closing and to practice opening. In my yoga practice myself, I always do my own homework, and I found myself breathing better in my yoga practice, getting a little bit deeper ujjayi breaths and being more conscious. Whenever I do better ujjayi breathing, and I have one thing that's like driving my mind a little bit, I find that I'm more mindful rather than mindless. My mind wanders a little bit less. So try that again this week and just see if you can bring your consciousness up a level from this one thing that's connected to so many other things. I could talk about all the different ways the sternum is connected, but just by giving you one thing to focus on that's a game changer for other things, I think it happens naturally. So I'd love to have your feedback. So if any of you are on our Facebook or respond to our Instagrams, I'd love to hear how your sternum homework is going. It's perfect that I had been thinking about, again, talking from the wise heart, about opening our heart and being more loving and kind people through the metta meditation. And it was just so perfect and serendipitous that some of my students came in and told me that they'd just seen the movie with Tom Hanks in it where he plays Mr. Rogers. I think it's called A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. And we talked about when they did the documentary on Mr. Rogers, and I loved it. If you haven't seen that first, I'm sure it's on Netflix and different Amazon where you could watch it. But at the theaters right now is this new movie based on Mr. Rogers' story. It has looks like some other stories folded into it as well. And I just love the trailer. I've watched the trailer a bunch of times. I watched as many trailers as I could find, and I actually got a little choked up in all the trailers. But it was so perfect because I realized that, we've been doing this work on love and compassion and loving kindness. And Mr. Rogers was truly a hero in our time that really taught children, but taught us about the importance of kindness. And when I think about, if I were to say like Mr. Rogers' philosophy, I think one of the foundations of his philosophy was to be kind to yourself and self-love, and that we build from that place to start to accept and love and be kind to other people. And it was just reflecting on how the yoga practice for me and as a teacher is so much about shutting our busy minds, quieting our busy minds to this place where we're just in a silent place within ourselves. I always call it kind of like the dark cave, like we go to our dark cave in our yoga practice. And in that is some svadhyaya, some self-study and some self-reflection, and we get close to ourselves. What am I thinking? What's running me right now? What's important to me? All these things that are important, but when we're living our daily lives in reaction, and as Viktor Frankl would say, stimulus and response constantly, we're not always aware of what we're feeling and how we are even reacting to things sometimes. And one of the other most important things that Mr. Rogers was always teaching to the children and to adults as well is how important it is to express your feelings. But we can't express them unless we really are close enough to know like how we're feeling. So it's just beautiful to think about the sternum, to involve our practice we're doing right now of yoga, but also the metta meditation. And to go see the Fred Rogers movie, if you haven't already, the Mr. Rogers movie, and just be inspired by someone who lived his life teaching kindness and the importance of kindness and the importance of love. And it's interesting also, it came back to a teaching we did a month ago about the vibration of sound and the vibration of a word. And Fred Rogers really believed in speaking kind words and how powerful they were and how much you can really change someone's life just through a kind word. I just wanted to share one example with you before I read the quotes, of course, by Fred Rogers for this week. But I made this a practice for our students, for all of you, to have this homework this week of really being mindful about what you speak and the possibility of, through the meditation, through yoga, through the sternum lifting, can I be a kinder person? I think I'm pretty kind. I think I'm pretty loving. But I'm like, it's a new year, I want to step it up a notch. Can I be more loving? Just finding little simple moments to do that. And I went out with some girlfriends and we were at a restaurant the other night, and one of the waitress was bringing something to the table, and we told her we already had this or something, and I could see that she got frustrated. And I don't know, it was just this instant moment where I was thinking of my homework, and I could tell she was frustrated, and I was looking at her, I'm like, wow, she has really beautiful hair. And so I just looked at her and I said, you have the most beautiful hair. And this was interesting. I watched the energy shift from being frustrated to being like, oh, thank you. And like, it just like lifted her right up, and I could see her just change her energy. And it was so simple. But it's, if you've ever, I'm sure we've all done this before, but like being the observer of this for forever, but at least for this week, forever. To like do something like that, consciously be like, I consciously want to be kind to this person, and watch how it shifts their energy. And then of course, the cool thing was like, I felt really good. I was like, I just made her feel better. How simple was that? So I want to invite you to take the, like you can call it a challenge if we want to, but let's take the challenge of like trying to make other people happy. People we don't even know, strangers. I didn't know her, but it made me so happy to make her happy. So these are, I was inspired by Mr. Rogers, so I'm going to share with you the inspirations. Imagine what our real neighborhoods would be like if each of us offered, as a matter of course, just one kind word to another person, which is what I did, and it made me super happy. I brought back the quote from John O'Donohue, 3 words, which are our mantra, words are carriers. And, you know, just thinking about like, wow, just saying something like, you look nice today, or to really look someone in the eyes and say, T, I love you. What does that carry, you know? And I bring that up again because we can just as easily just give a criticism to someone. I was telling my students, there's some crazy stats out about this, but if 10 of my students walked in and said, I love you, Di, it's so cool here. Oh, thank you. This Shala is so cool. I love your teachings, da, da, da. But one person came in and said, you know, I didn't like the way you talked about this particular topic. I felt like you were a bit out of line or whatever when you did it. What happens for me, as well as everyone else, is I wind up forgetting about the other 10 things and focusing on this person criticizing me. And it's, you know, there's always this, you know, of course we all need to be authentic. But I oftentimes think about this and it's like, what is worthy of me saying, and what is the purpose of saying something to someone that's critical or unkind? So I've been thinking about that as well. Like there's 2 parts to this. One part is like speaking true kindness, being authentic, but also being careful about what I say and what effect I know it might have on another person. And then he also said this, I have a couple quotes. If you could only sense how important you are to the lives of those you meet, how important you can be to the people you may never even dream of, there is something of yourself that you leave at every meeting with another person. I like that. Just thinking like, wow, that waitress, I left her something. I left her feeling that her hair was beautiful, that she was beautiful. I left her that. And then this was in the trailer, and I pulled it off the trailer. It only takes one person to inspire a world of kindness. It could be you. I added it could be you part. As always, take our teachings of the sternum, breath, meditation, yoga, kindness out of your yoga room, off your yoga mat, and into your lives. Namaste.